Now, let me quickly update you on the global agenda, a matter that affects us all. What do you think about the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine? President-elect Donald Trump has pledged, "I am determined to bring an end to this war within a mere 4 hours." However, there are strong allegations that the other day, Washington authorized Ukraine to strike Russian territory with long-range American missiles. The American press wrote about it. Now, if Biden has taken this step that will increase the likelihood of war, what kind of meaning does it have? For the region and for the world, Donald Trump has yet to make a statement. No, there is no statement yet from Russian leader Vladimir Putin, but surely it will be a step that will surprise these people too. Levent Yilmaz, what is your opinion? When we were saying that the war would end, will it get bigger? Will there be a third world war? Because we are talking about missiles that can go so far as to target Moscow. What do you think?
Now, of course, the president is still Biden. And on January 5th, I think, right? Metin, and there will be a handover on January 5th, January 20th. So that's 2 months. For 2 months, of course, the president will still be making the decisions. So we are in for a difficult 2 months. Now, Trump, of course, I mean, he claims he has the ability to bring an end to the war within just 24 hours, but he acknowledges it is not a simple task. I mean, it's far from being easy. At the end of the day, Russia has made significant progress inside the territory of Ukraine. Very important Ukrainian cities have been captured by the Russians. If the war will end in 24 hours, Ukraine, these captured territories, yes, he has to accept that these things are gone from our hands, because I don't think the Russians will retreat or anything, because of this issue, which is the subject of this news, the Russians have already launched an operation against Ukraine. They started a war. What was the reason? NATO's missiles will threaten the Russian capital, Moscow. The risk of being talked into proximity. We were talking. Russian President Vladimir Putin, he's been saying the same thing for 20 years. He says, look, this Ukraine issue is bothering us. You say we're going to take them into NATO. You say we're going to take them into the European Union. Look, this NATO's expansionist policy has become a threat to us. Will NATO troops come close to our borders? He said that these NATO attack missiles have started to come close to the points that threaten Moscow. And there came a moment when Zelensky, after he became president of Ukraine, there was a rapid process of intentions to join NATO. And the United States, which is the leader of NATO at work, a little flattery, so to speak, and then here's a European Union with the waves and stuff. Russia invading Ukraine initiated a movement and sparked a war, clearly indicating the reason behind Russia's decision. Considering such a complex issue at hand, it is unlikely that a resolution will be reached within a mere 24 hours. This sentiment mirrors a statement previously made by President Trump, showcasing America's perspective on the matter. Biden is still president for the next 2 months. Anyway, this war has already been fought. A war that began during his time in office and was initiated under his leadership, the Zelensky. This is my personal opinion. It may not be very appropriate as an academic's comment, but this story started when Zelensky was manipulated by the United States. This story started when Zelensky was manipulated by the European Union and the United States. Zelensky, he thought he could do things he couldn't do. The United States of America and the West, especially the member states of the European Union, come on, you go, buddy, you go. They said we are behind you. And Zelensky himself invaded his country. This is the truth of the matter. Any comment we make without seeing this truth is wrong. Now, how does this war continue? It continues with the Pentagon budget. It continues with weapons from the United States of America. It continues with financial aid from the European Union. What will happen when these are cut off? Zelensky has made statements many times. Send our money, send money, support, send weapons. I mean, do you think a state like Ukraine can continue such a war for a long time if there is no money and weapons support behind?
2 months left. He's got 2 months. He got it. Already Trump will cut off aid.
It will end sooner or later. Trump plans to reduce aid. Europe's situation is unfavorable.
His complaint
Time
too.
for methane, anyone? Putin has halted Austria's gas supply, despite Austria claiming their gas tanks are at full capacity. Upon reviewing the data this morning, I discovered that European gas reserves are also affected by this situation. The topic of rising gas prices will be discussed. The security of Europe's energy supply will also be addressed. President Trump proves to be a captivating leader.
We talked
are
about
living
it
in a
for years. Let's
remarkable
be
era.
again. It will become an agenda then.
Anyway, if you remember, Mrs. Sultan, I insistently said that in the winter of 2025, we must discuss this matter. We are aware of the challenges that Europe will face in the winter of 2025, and we know it will be extremely difficult. This situation cannot be compared to simply filling tanks. We previously mentioned that if the weather remains below normal temperatures for a further 20 days, if it gets colder, it will not be possible to resolve this issue by relying solely on full tanks. Europe will eventually reduce its support for Ukraine, so I feel very sorry for the people of Ukraine. I feel very sorry for the people of Ukraine by being manipulated by the West, by being manipulated by the United States of America in particular. They were dragged into a war they couldn't win. They had their country invaded. The beautiful cities of Ukraine were ravaged by bombs. They were destroyed.